Seems legit.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do button earrings at your request. These are ones that I made out of some scrap fabric. So I just want to talk about all the things that I use and other things that you can use instead. So let's start with the things that actually do the button earrings. So they come as a two-piece like this. So you get, I've got two sizes. But they come in like, I don't know, 20 sizes, so you can kind of go nuts if you really want to. So I've got size 20 and size 32. So the inside, this bit here moves, and so it comes like a, I don't know, whatever that's called. So it just slides back and forth, and then this side is like a spring-loaded section. Now, you can use these without this cool thing. All you need to do is get something like this, stick it in and hammer it. But we all know how I feel about hammering. It's noisy and kind of unnecessary. So this is actually my badge maker. But I got my husband to make me this and adopted it so that I can use it for these. So because these need to be spring-loaded, it just so happened that if I slide them under here, they actually fit into this perfectly. That was a bit of a fluke. I didn't really know that was going to happen. So this is literally a bolt that we cut down to size because the top of this is magnetic. So it holds it in for you. So then all I have to do is slide this in and squish it down. It took a couple of goes to get this the right size. The first time we cut it too short, so I had to go buy another one. Then we had it too long, but it's obviously easy to cut down. So I can tell you how big this is. It is 2¼ inches. So that's what we ended up cutting for this Viva one. This is just a random one off the internet. Nothing's brand labeled here. It's all just what it is. So that goes in there like that. And so then to do this, I've got them all sectioned into here. So you can either make them with a flat back and then you can use them in things like scrapbooking or turn them into earrings. Or you can also get them so that they have like a button back so that I can actually make covered buttons for my clothes. So I do have both of those options. And I just want to show you, these are the two sizes that I have. So this is the big one and the small one. The problem I find with the small one is you can't get very much of a print on it. But, you know, that's fine. So, before I open that and then drop them everywhere, we're going to start with the fabric. So I've just picked this random scrap that I had in my cupboard. Now, to make these the easiest way that I have found possible, I'm going to use like a kid's glue stick. It was blue, I don't know if... Oh no, it's still blue. That's awesome. And I just use some little scissors. And I'm going to use E6000 glue. I love this glue. You can get this at Spotlight, you can get it online. This one's online. It's cheaper if you buy it from China and weight ages, but you've got to weight ages. So it depends on which way you want to do that. You could also use some kind of Gorilla Glue or anything that just holds really well. I personally probably wouldn't use super glue though because it's really runny and you don't want to get it everywhere. So this is the print we're going to use. And to waste less, I am just going to do the corner. So let's grab a big one. Actually, let's grab a big one and a small one. So I'm going to grab a front and a back. So the way that you can tell the difference is one is curved, one is flat. And and I put them into different sections in the tub so that it's just easy to grab everything like that. And I'm going to put the lid back on so that I don't drop it because we all know I probably will. All right, so now I'm going to take the glue stick and I'm going to take the curved edge and work out what I want to put on the actual earring. So I'm going to do like part of the cherry. So I'm just going to wind this up a little bit and put it straight on here. Now it is a kid's craft glue, so it won't last forever, but it does exactly what we need it to. And then for the little one, I might do a polka dot because I don't think we'll get much else. Whoops. Make sure you hold that fabric down or have it all on the table so it doesn't shift. So again, I'm just going to put the dot, I'm actually not going to put, I'm going to try and put it in the middle, like that. So now we need to cut around this. So what we want is you want to kind of be able to come up over and then tuck a little bit in. So you want to come out I don't know. It's relative to the size. You do get practice with this. If you have too much and the fabric's thick, it goes bulky. And if you have too little, it won't work. So I'm going to do about 1/2 inch around, approximately. It's obviously not exact. And then this one I'm going to do a little bit less. But I am just going to cut that out. So this is really good for scraps. And they make really cute gifts for, like, you know, thank you gifts or Christmas gifts for people you don't really know well enough. You can do like a matching scrunchy earring set. So I'm just gonna, that's a little bit too much. Because if there's too much, you've got to remember all this fabric is going to be stuffed inside here. So that's why it doesn't necessarily always work. So the top is where this is going to go. So I'm going to put my finger underneath and hold it up here. And then I'm going to push it down evenly so that everything goes scrunchy on the inside. And then just to make sure that it doesn't misbehave, I'm going to take my pick, but you can take anything really, and just push all the fabric so it's actually pushed towards the center. That's actually not really helping as much. Let's use snips. So I'm just pushing it. So now you can see it's kind of more folded over. There is method to my madness, I promise. Then we're going to take the bottom, pop it in, put them together, and then I'm going to slide it under here. I'll do it sideways so you can see, and then just push all the way down. Bring it out. And there is that. And that's what the back looks like. So it's tucked all the fabric in and squished it all in beautifully. So that's one. Now let's do the little one. The little one's a fiddlier. Just so you know. So again, I'm going to put my finger up in there to bring it up. Because if you have it down and you try and squish it, it's more likely to go in sideways. So this is what I've found works best. Push it up, and then we're going to basically match our fingers. And as we push one in, the other one will go down. So if it's not playing ball like this, I've also got too much fabric. So I'm going to chop a little bit more off. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. But we just don't want so much fabric that is going to consume everything. Because then it won't go in. So now I'm just going to push it kind of to there. And then you can get a texter or a pen and push it down further like that to make sure that it's all in nice and flat. So again, we've got that same thing where I just want to go in and bend all the fabric over to make sure that nothing's going to poke out later. Not everybody does that step. I like to though. From experience, it works best. So we're going to put it together. Now, if you were at home and you don't have this, because obviously most of you don't, you can just get this, push that there, and then hammer away. It only takes like 1 or 2 hits and you're good. Just squish it down and then open it. And then there is my little one with a spot. Kind of looks like an eyeball. Not mad about that. It's kind of cool. So anyway, that is the little one. So that's just how you do them. We're going to do another set of each so that I can have a set of earrings, because that makes sense to me. And again, you want to try and take from the scrappy areas, so like down here. So if you have like little scraps and you're a hoarder of scraps, this is a great scrap buster. I no longer hoard scraps. There is no space in this room to do so. But, you know, whatever. Okay, so, again, this glue, like, you can do it without the glue, but I definitely find it easier with. Going on experience, this is just what works for me. So, again, we're going to take a cherry and stick it in the center like that. And then I'm going to take, again, with the round edge, and you can stick the glue on here if that works better for you. It's a much of a muchness. So one of these glue sticks doing this will last you forever. It'll probably dry out before I actually get through it all. I'm going to take some big scissors and just cut it off here, just so it doesn't like pull to the ground. And then we're going to come and just kind of cut roughly around. Again, you don't want to do too small. I'm going to do one too small to show you what happens after I've made the nice set. And I'll show you what I mean. So again, we're going roughly around. It's not a perfect circle. I'm not even trying. The edges are actually quite jagged. If you can see that. Quite jagged. Doesn't matter. Hack at it. You're not going to see this bit. So long as you've positioned it correctly, you'll be fine. So, big one. Big ones are easier to do, just so you know. Okay, and that just didn't work. That shifted. Right, let's try that again. So again, we're going to push it up from here. So if you want to, you can take your pen, put it in the center, and then push down like that. And then I want to attack all those little edges and just kind of fold them over. Because what happens is if they're not folded over, I'll show you what happens actually. We'll do a couple of bad ones to show you what happens if you do it wrong. But let's just do this one correctly for now. Squish, release. Sometimes the glue makes it stick to the top. Don't be too worried. Okay. Little one. So again, we're going to push it up like this. So a good indicator of how much fabric to use is this outer circle here. So this little bit on the inside is the bit that moves. And then it's got a kind of a lip, if you can see that. Oh, it's a bit shiny. Sorry. So if you make the fabric fit within that lip, that's pretty much the perfect amount of fabric. You can cut them on a scan and cut and work out, like measure that circle and do that. That would also work in your favor. Or you can hack at it like me. Depending on what fabrics you're using. Okay, so there's another one. So now I've got little eyeballs and those. I'm just going to let the glue dry a little bit more before we put the backs on. So let's do a couple of what not to do's, just so I can show you what happens if you stuff it up. We're going to do the bigger ones just so you can see better. And some backs. It's not like I don't have enough here. I buy them like 200 or something at a time, so it's not like I'm going to run out. Okay, so where's my bad edge? Over here. Right, so let's do one that's not big enough. So let's pretend like I really love this particular cherry. So we're going to put some glue on, and then we're going to stick it, and then we're going to cut around. And this is what happens when you cut it too close. So we're just going to cut a really small circle. So, right, so this is what not to do. See how I haven't got enough fabric? When I put this in, knowing my luck, this will still work. When I put it in and I don't kind of shuffle those edges, this is what's going to happen. Oh, would you believe it? It worked. Oh, no. Oh. No, actually, it didn't. So it's actually got, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but it's actually got a little bit of a lip here where it didn't quite catch it properly. So see how it's not perfectly round? So if I turn it over this way, see how it's got like a bit of a sticky-addy lump bit? Oh, there you go. If I touch it, it didn't catch the whole lot. So this is what happens when you cut it too small and don't fold it over properly. It's missed a bit. So that one is actually no good. And this happens if you use vinyl. So I've made some vinyl ones out of like a soft vinyl. This is what happens to soft vinyl. If you have it too much, or if you don't fold it over all, it gets all these weird little lump bits. So that's what we don't want to do. So you have to just make sure you fold it over and cut it big enough. So that's probably because it's not cut big enough. But it also happens if you don't fold it over. So there you go. All right, let's put the backs on. So I'm going to just grab out, I've got some here. They are sterling, actually they're not sterling silver, these ones. These ones are just silver earring backs. And I've got the back parts of them. So you can get different types of backs. These are the ones I use most commonly. But if you're going to go to Spotlight, you'll find they have these big backs with the plastic bit. Either or. It's all much of a muchness. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take these. In fact, let's get a bit closer. Will work out better. I'm just going to move the giant machine out of the way. Pop them aside. Right, so these are our backs. Now you can do this two ways. The way I personally like to do it is squirt it in the center like that. Oops, don't do that. Put a little blob, preferably without dropping it, like that. Then take the earring end and smush it down, and then make sure it's in the center, which it is not quite. Now, I've got a little bit of excess glue. Normally I would have like an ear cleaning bud, depending on where you live, you call that different stuff. So I'm just going to use a cloth for now and take off that extra glue. Another way you can do this is if you have a resin kit, you can resin them on the back. Each to their own. The other way to do it is to put the glue on the back of the earring, like this, and then stick it on this way. And then you still have to push down and squish it though. You want that glue to kind of smush out. So let's do the little ones. For the little ones, it's definitely easier to put it directly on the backing because they take up pretty much the whole thing. So before I smush it down, I'm just going to put it on. And then as I smush it, I'm going to center it because it does take up most of the back of the earring because it is a smaller size. And then smush. So one more. So I'm putting like a bead of glue, like, let's see if that'll focus better. There's a bead of glue in the middle and it's about that deep. So it's just a little bead. You don't want it to be flat though, because that won't be enough glue. You want to make sure you're using enough to make it stick. And so then I've just put it on and now I'm going to push it to be in the center, which sometimes is definitely harder than it looks. Like this one's no longer in the center, possibly because I, tilted it. So we're just going to tap it gently until it's in the center like that. And there you go. And always make sure you put the lid on the glue. Very important. So that's the backings for those. This, I usually leave it for, I'll leave this until tomorrow before I play with them and put them on a card. Because you want that glue to really, really dry. So you want it to be thoroughly dry before you go putting it on cards and stuff in case it does slip. So I leave it 12 to 24 hours before I mess with them because it's better to be safe than sorry. So while I've got a close-up, let me just shuffle them over. And let's have a look at my tub and I'll show you how I've got it organised. So this, I'm pretty sure was from Kmart. It was like $3 or maybe it was from Bunnings. It was one of those two. So the way I've got it organised, because the top parts are curved, they take up a lot more space than the backs. So how I had it before it's a little bit messy, these actually live in here. So I put the big one in its own space pretty much, and then I have the curved bits and the flat bits. And then I've got the small curves, the small flats, and these are all meant to be not in here. And then the small one of these goes in there so that everything is near each other. That, as you can tell, I'm not exactly gentle with this. And the bottom of it's not perfectly sealed, so they're slipping underneath. But it is what it is. So that one goes in there. When I've got a smaller thing of glue, it'll live in here. And then I've got my earring backs, the backings. These are excess that they can actually probably go in there now. You just add them all together because they take up a lot of space. Alright, so pop those in that side like that. Under here, I made these. You can buy this design shape off Etsy to make your own. So this is a scrunchie holder that I've put 2 extra holes in to then make earring and a scrunchie holder. So you fold it up, you staple it up the top, the scrunchie goes in there, and the earrings go in the 2 little holes. So this is what I put them on to do my scrunchie thing. If you want to draw a shape yourself, you can. Otherwise, Etsy has like a design thing you can buy for $2. And I decided the hours it would take me to draw that shape, it was cheaper for me to just buy it for $2. This still won't quite fit. Usually I buy the smaller ones. So here I've got Selleys Power Grip Glue. You know, pick whatever works for you, really. But if you keep them all together in a nice little container, I slide this underneath one of my fixtures on the floor. So you don't see it, but it doesn't get dusty because it's in a container. If I wanted to get super fancy, I could put stickers on the outside of this and make it all pretty. But, you know, when have I got time? But there you go. So that's pretty much everything earrings for me. Lives in one little box, and then I use this glue for other stuff, so I also tend to keep it in the cupboard. But when I had the little stick, it was in here. But yeah, so you can do earrings, and all you really need, usually when you buy this, like the actual machine part, so the expensive part's this thing, which is not that expensive. I will find it and put a link in the description for you. But usually when you get these, you can buy them with the matching earring parts, so that you can get the flat ones, or I'll show you what the earring backs look like. They are white, and they're like a shank button where it sits up, so I can turn them into buttons and have them down a skirt or something to match, or be contrasting. So it is a cheap way to make buttons as well, because it's kind of fun to have them matching. But yeah, that's pretty much how they come. So a flat back or the button back are the only 2 styles I've looked for. They might come with others, I'm not sure. But you want the flat back for the earrings and the button style for buttons, obviously. So there you go. That's pretty much everything. I hope that was fun and educational. And like I said, I will put the link for everything that I've got in the description for you so that you can go and purchase it yourself if you want to play. Alright guys, bye.